Are you ready?
Ready.
Ready. Ready.
Ready.
John Peckman, podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, go through one set of lights. Pull a Yui, park in front of the music store with the red neon light. Yes. That's us. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Be on the show with me. Have your own podcast here in our beautiful studio. We're here today with drummer Arnie Cuozzo.
Sup.
There he is.
Sup.
There he is.
We're already working on the kit for you.
Dude. Plays drums. Kind of makes them.
Yeah, I worked for Smith Drums for years.
See what I'm saying? He'll make you drums. He'll play drums in your band while other people are playing. You know, it's called the ensemble. He will
rent you a backline.
Dude,
I got 5 different kits. We got all kinds of stuff.
See what I'm saying? This is the man. So Arnie shows up. I already got a plan. Like we talked for 10 minutes. We're already making stuff happen. Oh boy. All right. So I first met you as a drummer. So
100 years ago.
100 years ago.
During the Joetown era.
That's right. That's right.
You actually played percussion.
That's right.
On the Eclectic Nobody stuff. Remember that?
Yes, I do. The Eclectic.
There's
Nobody.
nothing like Joetown, man.
No.
That place. I wish it was back. I wish Joe would buy that house.
Oh God.
And just bring it back.
Tell me about it. That's my town. I see that house all the time. I don't know what's in there now.
Think that reverb unit's still in the basement?
Oh God.
I don't think
it might be. I doubt anyone would take it out of there. Were you there when we made a little mini studio on the first floor, right when you walked in? Do you remember that at all?
Yeah.
At one point, I don't know what it is now, but at one point, I got massages in that room. It was a massage therapist, but I mean a legit massage, not what you're thinking. Yeah, the old Joetown in Wallingford on Main Street. Those were the days. And then we went to I don't know what they call it, the Power Station North or whatever.
New England, Power Station New England.
That's right. I was there too. Yep.
That was the fun days. We got free stuff all the time and
Yep.
Run around trying to get a deal.
Yeah.
Playing New York.
Well, you know what? Tell me how you got started in everything, and then we'll get to that part.
Like drum stuff?
Yeah. You grew up where?
Orange,
okay.
Connecticut.
Yeah, far out.
And I took lessons from a guy in East Haven. I kind of don't. It's hard to remember who it was, but I remember, he taught me to read and write.
Hey, that's cool.
And I had all the tablature for all the Zeppelin stuff. So I learned how to read and write Zeppelin tunes.
That's good though, right?
Which is kind of cool. A lot of like new people that take lessons, they don't learn to read.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I try to teach my kids to read. It's not that hard.
No,
We're
it's not
that smart.
No.
If we can do it, you know what I mean? I tell kids, like, if you can count, God forbid, if you can count to 16, that's it. That's all you ever need.
I mean, the little X is the symbol, it's not that hard.
Not that hard, kids.
Stick control.
Yeah, if we can do it, anyone can do it.
And then
why drums?
I don't know. I think my brother started playing drums and I played guitar.
Okay.
But it wasn't quite the Van Halen story.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
And then we kind of switched, and then he just gave up and he became a cop, and then he went a different direction, and then I just stayed on the drums, and that's pretty much.
And that's cool.
And I started playing. I'm not like a huge rudiment person, I never really, I had stick control and all those things, but I wanted to play, So I just started playing the drum set, and that's kind of like how I started. I didn't really, how it is. It's like you probably do the rudiments constantly when you're playing, just don't.
Right.
You just don't know.
Sure.
And then I just started playing, you know, and I remember playing to like Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass.
Nice. Yeah.
And Billy Joel, playing along the Billy Joel. And I always played along to stuff. And and then when we started recording early, I learned, to play to a click very early, which I always tell young drummers
don't be afraid.
I don't need to play. I'm like, you don't need to.
Right.
But
why not?
Future life lessons, you're going to be dropped in a studio to record, and you're going to have to.
Right. Yeah, and don't be
afraid of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always practice to a click, and it really helped me in my future drumming.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You learn to play around it. You know what I mean? You learn to play around it. That's like the key.
Yep.
to learning. I think a lot of like newer kids, they just want to learn songs a lot, you know.
Sure.
I want to know how to play this song. I want to really play this song. And it's like, I don't want to play to a click for an hour. Just like it's like.
Well, you know what I always say. I don't know if this is true. I got lucky. I had one of the only records I had to practice to was Saturday Night Fever, because it just ended up in the house. So I would play disco grooves, and that was cut to a click. So it was like practicing to a click, but not just to a click. And then, I realized, oh, hey, my time's pretty good, just because, as opposed to practicing to, something that wasn't cut to a click. So it's like I'm playing to a click secondhand or whatever. But.
And the kids nowadays, the technology is awesome. You can,
right.
I mean, I have an app in my phone that I could take the drums out.
Yeah, right.
Take the guitar out, or
Just
download a song and just like mix it, and like, so you could do so much cool stuff now.
Yeah.
It's they're spoiled,
Yeah.
YouTube. I mean.
Yeah.
I want to, I was just like,
we had nothing.
We were doing a Zeppelin night, I think at when Scott Weaver did his open mics over, what was it? I don't forget what it was called, but I'm like, I gotta do Fool in the Rain, So,
oh boy.
And then you go on YouTube and they break it down for you,
right,
like literally, and it's like, wow, it's hard, but it's now that you broke it down, it's
right.
Like, I can actually learn it.
Sure,
right. Obviously, it's not going to be exact, and you ever isolated tracks too.
Right.
The isolated tracks, the like Fool in the Rain, it's just like amazing to hear those real recordings.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Just drums,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it is mind blowing. Yeah, you learn things. Like I thought I knew how to play it, and then I'm like, oh, that's what he's actually doing. Okay, that's cool. Let me rethink it. Yeah. No, that's wild. That's pretty wild. What was the first thing that you were, well, you already said like Billy Joel, like whatever. What was like your thing that you would play to forever?
I think it was like, I'm trying to remember now. I mean, it was a lot of the Zeppelin stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to laugh, but there was I used to play it along to the song Disco Duck.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's those straight, simple, like little things that you're like, and then I got into the metal stuff.
Yeah.
Like Ozzy and Sabbath. I was never a huge like Metallica fan or anything.
Okay.
Like, I mean, we were more into the 80s stuff like Warrant, Poison, Rat.
Yep.
And then Nirvana came along and just like destroyed that, and then we were more a 90s band. The Eclectic Nobodies was more like a Fuel tonic kind of thing.
Right.
It was like poppy sort of, but not super heavy.
Yeah. A lot of excellent percussion.
Yeah, the percussion was amazing. But it was, recording with Joe and everything was just like, we started before like even like web MP3s.
Yeah.
And like websites, and it was pretty crazy to think about what we did at Joe's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's. I mean,
they were splicing tape.
We're lucky.
They're like razor blading tape. Remember that? We were like, I remember this it's so funny. I tell people the story. Joe is like, Joe had friends everywhere, California.
Yep.
And he was like, there's a new technology, coming out. It's you're going to be able to like email a song. It's called MP3.
And you're like, wait a minute, what's an email?
Yeah. And you're like, what do you mean you're going to be able to like email a song to somebody? And we're like
how?
Oh, he's like, all the record companies are buying the rights to use this MP3 it's a compression technology. And we're just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, whatever. Man, we don't even know what you're talking
about. We just said, we had a website and we were amazed.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a website. www. It's like.
So crazy.
So it's just, it's pretty insane when but I'm glad that we grew up then.
Oh yeah.
Not spoiled with computer editing and we actually had to play the drum track.
Right.
Maybe we overdubbed other stuff, but the drum track had to be laid down. We couldn't really edit it.
I agree. 100%.
Now you're like, I recorded now with my friend and I used an electronic kit because they were replacing everything.
Right.
And they're like, okay, we got the chorus, we're cool.
Right.
And they're just going to like cut and paste it.
I know.
And, and I'm like, oh my, I'm explaining to the band how horrible it was to record.
Yeah.
Because you're playing an electronic kit.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't, and I'm a hard hitter. Like,
sure.
I want to bash the cymbal. I want,
right.
You lose all that feel.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. They're going to fix it all and edit it and it's going to sound fine. I'm like, and you listen to it and sure. Yeah. Sounds fine.
Sure. I know.
But playing it was just brutal.
Well, I think knowing, because we're old enough to come up with, like, for people who don't really realize how this works really, or how it used to work. So you theoretically get the band kind of together, maybe not in the same room, but kind of, more or less. But drums, when the red light goes on, you have to get a take of the drums, a performance from top to bottom. And then the other guys can do punch-ins and they can fix after the fact, but you're like the bed track. So we get used to the mentality of drummers back then of like, you're always going for a take. And that focus keeps you in the zone. But like you're saying, if you just go, they'll fix it later, you're not as intense or as focused.
Oh, absolutely.
It changes things.
Definitely changes things.
I mean, it's good for some people, or it's better for them putting the recordings together. But I feel like that thing of going for it.
Remote recording now, it's like people are so used to like, the tracks are going to send to me, I'm going to play the drums, which I mean,
sure.
I guess I would love to be able to do that. It'd be cool.
Sure.
You could record a track of some guy in England.
Yeah.
Matt Starr, friend.
Yep.
He does it all the time, and it's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's a different thing, but we're talking about the old days of like getting the band kind of in the room and like making it happen, and we're talking about in Wallingford where I grew up, Joe Delaney, Joetown. It was, when was that? That was like the late 90s.
Yeah,
right?
90s, yeah.
And it was almost a throwback then. I don't know what recording technology was like. It was almost still a throwback that he was using 2-inch tape.
2-inch tape.
But like old school, like make a record on 2-inch tape with an engineer, Bays, who knew what he was doing. It's like we had that experience right at the tail end of that. And it's like, you think how lucky we were. I remember one time, you ever do this, like with Bays, we're like, wouldn't it be cool to have tape flange on something? And he made it happen with tape machines. It's like, that's killer.
Taking the little miniature amp and putting in a bucket.
Yep.
And then putting the mic on it.
Yep. Yep.
Or like, the snare drum in the room, mic'd up in front of the bass amp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to have this weird tone that you'd never hear.
Mm-hmm.
But
that now would just be a plug-in or a click or something.
But yeah, I'm glad we went through that.
Yeah,
definitely. I think it made us better players in the long run.
I think so. No, I was into it.
And now a lot of these party bands, they play to a click because they're playing a track.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We're good playing to clicks because nowadays, you could encounter that. You got to do the gig to a click.
You could get a great gig that could pay really huge money.
Sure.
And all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, you're going to play the tracks." And you're like,
Yeah.
I know people that are great drummers and they screwed up a gig because they couldn't play to the track.
And we have Disco Duck to thank. You know what I'm saying? Because we grew up playing to a click. It's not a bad thing.
And then I met Smith Drums, who was a local custom drum company in Bridgeport, and they were doing good things. They were putting drums in. I don't know if you remember the Boxcar in Fairfield. It was like a blues club.
No.
That was probably too far down over there for you.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of cats from New York would come there.
Okay.
We had a house kit there. And
yeah.
So they were doing good things, and we were getting good, so I learned how to build drums from them.
Yeah.
They were working with Gretsch because Gretsch was in Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
So they were in like Command, Gibraltar and all that. So he met the Gretsch guy, and we were building Smith was building all the custom artist Gretsch kits. So anytime you'd see like a custom Gretsch kit with custom paint, we were building them.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool.
And
that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I guess he was hoping for a big deal. Like he was going to build the Gretsch USA kits that they were doing before.
Right.
And then it all fell through. They ended up getting stuff from wherever, China or something, parts, and it fell through. And the company kind of like went south. That was before there wasn't a lot of custom drum companies.
DW and
GMS, those smaller ones.
Yep.
Now there's a million. You can just search and but it's not that hard to make a drum. Like people, I try to tell people like it's not hard. Like you can't, the lugs can only go in one spot.
Okay.
So you can't really move those.
Yeah. It's
really just like finishes, what kind of shell you're going to use.
Gotcha.
Hardware,
But to actually putting it together.
Putting it together is not that hard. It's like bearing edges might be a little hard if you don't know how to use like a router table or something. But there's companies like Precision Drum in New York. There's Drum Factory Direct. You can buy like snare kits, like chrome over brass snare kits that come with all the parts.
Oh,
and you put it together.
Yeah, right.
You can buy shells with bearing edges already on them.
Wow.
Pre-drilled.
Whoa.
So
what do so you're saving assemblage?
Yeah.
Cost.
And if you want to, you just buy the shell. You want to keep it natural. You just finish it
clear,
and you can buy all the hardware. And it's not like super hard. It's like
your own.
You can make your own. It's not that hard.
Which we're gonna do.
We're gonna make the Bonham kit. I already got the 26. I got a 28, but that's too big. We'll do the 26.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
We'll do the 26.
Yeah.
We can do it.
Oh man. So I want to kind of think about in order. So like first band, when did you kind of start getting your act together?
I think it was this band First Defense. It was like kind of like cheesy 80s rock, like late 80s. Mm-hmm. You know, we were trying to have long hair and be like all these pop cheesy bands.
Sure.
And, you know, I think we were one of like the first local bands to play Toad's Place.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Because Catherine, I don't know if you remember Catherine from
Vaguely,
Toad's.
Yeah, that was.
You know, I knew her, and you know, they didn't have local bands at Toad's.
Right.
It was always like nationals. They never.
Right.
And then they made a decision they were gonna like start adding like locals, and we were like one of the first bands to do, which was pretty cool. You know? And then after then, they just started adding all the locals, and it ended up working out fun. But those are also different times. They're in the Gargantua Soul days, Mighty Purple.
Yep.
You know, we were doing good shows during the week.
Yeah, right.
Thursday night at Toad's.
Yeah.
With like 5 bands.
Yeah.
And we were having fun. I mean, like there was a lot of local talent going on.
Yeah.
Tons of local talent.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like dissipated. It started to, you know, the party, Derek and the Fun Bags, good friends of mine. They were like the first party band to like sell out Toad's Place.
Right.
And we were all original bands.
Right.
And we were like, what is this Derek and the like?
Yeah.
How are they selling? And that's when the party rock thing started.
Right. Sure.
And then the Zoo.
Yep.
They were kind of around the same time.
Yep.
And then, you know, a lot of us original bands started doing covers because we were like realizing that, man, these clubs just want cover bands.
Right. And I guess you can't blame the club because all of a sudden they're like, well, we're making much more money. Sadly, this is what people would rather.
They want to hear songs they know.
I mean, not that the Fun Bags aren't great. It's just different. It's a different.
They're still playing and they're amazing musicians.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like ridiculous. When you see them now, you're just like, it's obvious they've been doing it for 25 years.
Yeah. Well, Chersky was here. You watch his episode. He's hilarious.
Oh, Matt,
so funny. Yeah.
Matt cracks me up.
Yeah,
he's so cheap. It's just.
I don't know about that. But
no, I love Matt. He actually has a Smith kit.
Does he?
His like jelly bean kit that he plays is one that I made for him.
Yeah, that's cool.
Back in the Smith days.
Yeah.
And then I started my own thing, the HM drums thing, which is I have this like metal coating process I can do. I can spray metal on wood and everything.
Okay.
Like nickel, brass. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do a little bit of that, but it's tough now. You know, I'll do snare drums, but like doing kits for people, it's not really worth it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many companies out there, you know, to build a custom kit for someone to do the whole kit.
Right.
That's why I pretty much do like a lot of snare. I do a lot of vintage restorations now too.
Yeah, right.
I'm a Ludwig guy, so you know, I have Ludwig snare drums. I have tons of, you know, in my collection. I try to find, you know, ones that are like you can't really find, and
sure,
you just scour the universe of the internet and you can find them.
Yep. Not like the old days where you got
Craigslist.
Lucky. Yeah, or if you hit Daddy's Junkie at the right moment, you could find something.
Oh, well, I miss Daddy's Junkie, man.
Yeah, I do too.
Going through the used symbol
that
rack.
It's the first place I went. Yeah. You could score some
I think
stuff.
I got like 15-inch new beats brand new for like $100.
Yeah. I kind of miss that too. Yeah, I would just cruise through. You know, just be like, I got a half an hour. Let me cruise through and leave with something. I was on the road with A to the Bar back in the day. I bought a $50 Slingerland student model, blue sparkle, 6 lug, just to have as a spare, you know, because I was like, I need a spare in case something happened. And I played it on the first set just to try it out. And I played that for years.
You still have it?
I still have it. And people would come up to me and go, man, what is that? I'm like, it's nothing. It's just for some reason, it sounded great and it was killer. It was nothing, and absolutely, you know, nothing special.
Yeah,
So
but, you know, it's another thing that I think people are like delusional about is like, you know, these DWs that are like note tuned shells.
Oh yeah.
And you're like $5,000 for the kit, and I'm like, I have this 65 Silver Sparkle Ludwig that's probably completely out of round.
Yeah, right.
But the thing sounds amazing. Like,
well,
I think if you can tune, then you could probably make almost anything sound good.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Right, sure.
Like when you see like I laugh when they do the snare drum comparisons, like the Supra versus the the Black Beauty, or the Supra versus the Slinger. I'm like, you can tune the snare drum 100 different ways.
Right.
Like it could be high, it could be low. Like, how can you do a comparison and say, oh, look at the difference? I'm like, but I could take 2 minutes and just tune that thing a little higher, and it's completely different.
Right.
Like, I think comparisons are stupid.
Yeah.
To try to compare which one is better.
Right. Whichever one you like, or what you like the sound of.
And you can tune a drum a million different ways. Mm-hmm. I've had friends record with these people, and they like tune the snare drum till the head is like loose. They put like a towel on it.
Yeah.
And you're like, ew.
Yeah.
But people are weird. Like,
well, I was doing a rehearsal with Tracy yesterday. He has a Ludwig, something old. I don't know what the snare drum is, but it likes to go out of tune. Like I get it where I want it, and then we get a couple of songs in, right where I'm whacking it, the one lug goes out of tune, but it sounds great. Like when that one lug starts to go out, there's that moment where you're like, oh yeah, it's right there, and then it goes past it, and I gotta kind of, but like when you whomp on it, it wants to go out of tune, which is kind of cool in a way. It sounds good for that little window, and then it goes too far.
Nobody's really gotten that lug lock thing down yet.
Right. I used to do that. Yeah.
There are little plastic lug locks that work.
Mm-hmm.
I know Matt uses like this tuna fish thing or something, and they have gotten better. But like you said, it's like trying to find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
And there's so many, like the heads now. There's so many different weird heads. And I like traditional, like single ply coated.
Yeah.
They don't last that long, but
right.
But they sound the best.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
But I actually have drums in New York at Mission Sound, which is like a vintage studio there, and another one, Monster Island, and I had a 13-inch snare drum that I made, and for some whack out reason, I drilled it for a 10 lug.
Oh boy.
There's no such thing.
A 13.
There's
10
no
lug.
There's no such thing. So I had I bought like hook style hoop.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Because it was the only way to make it work.
Right.
And for some weird reason, the thing sounded amazing. Like,
you're like onto something. Excellent.
But it was so hard to play because the lugs are so close together, and it had hooks.
Yeah.
But the guy at the studio bought it from me because he said that the thing was just like one of those weird mistakes. And I'm thinking,
it's their secret ingredient.
I'm like, maybe I found a secret to the.
Maybe
I can find someone to make me like 10 lug, 13-inch hoops or something.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. That's funny. Yeah, I guess you never know. Like you say, you discovered something. That's wild. Were you always into building? Because that's a whole different other thing. Like I can't staple two pieces of paper. You know what I mean?
I'm always I'm pretty handy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like I remodeled my whole kitchen and put flooring. So like I guess it helps to be like handy with like a router and drills and all
like I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, whatever.
And I learned to paint too. Like it's like my Smith kit I have is like a House of Color flake. It's got like a black base.
Yeah.
Yellow flake, green flake, rainbow flake, 5 coats of clear with rainbow in one of it. It's like layered. You just layer a little bit at a time, and it has to be sanded and buffed. And so I learned a lot like doing that. It was
When did you decide to get involved in making drums? Did it just come to you?
I think when I approached Smith for like an endorsement, and then we kind of like bartered. So I made stickers for him, which back then I was doing all the CD designs for everybody. I did one for you.
Yeah, you did one for me. Yeah.
I actually found an old storage box the other day looking for something. I'm like, oh my! I did like all this, like G Soul,
everybody's
Joe.
Yeah, you
were
the guy.
I was like the guy who went on a flyer, and then I doing drum heads and then I kind of met the guy at Smith for an endorsement, and I bartered like stickers for him, and
nice.
Then I just helped him in this. And
then you were like, hey, I could do this.
Yeah, I'm like, I could do this. It's not that hard, And then I started, helping him and helping him make drums, and that's how
That's cool.
I would like they would make the kit for a guy in New York. He was at SIR, so I'd deliver it for him.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
And for one of the Gretsch kits we did for Dashboard Confessional, I think the drummer that was at that time. And you know, I dropped the kit off, and I told the guy from Gibraltar. He's like, "Well, if you bring the kit, I'll give you a whole set of hardware." And I'm like,
hey,
cool.
Nice.
And I actually still use that hardware. That Gibraltar hardware is actually almost a little too heavy duty.
Oh, really?
But I've had it for like 20-something years.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So it is heavy duty, and it's annoyingly heavy. But, I mean, the guy's like, here you go. And he gave me a whole, like, $500 worth of Gibraltar hardware.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of stuff, you know, barter makes the world go round.
Yeah.
I still do tons of barter stuff, you know.
That's killer.
But I was able to, with the drumhead thing and all the people I met, I was able to do a lot of, like I did all the Avril Lavigne drumhead tours before this one.
Wow, that's cool.
So you see any of the stuff before now, you would see her on TV. My friend Rodney Howard, who's a New York drummer, used to play with her.
Oh, cool. So he would call you up just like we all did, like, hey.
He's like, I need 2 drumheads. The only difference, I'd be charging $400 to the management of Avril because I could.
Because you could, yeah.
And then you would see him on the Jimmy Fallon show, whatever, and tour, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, I just saw him last night. He does Broadway a lot, so.
Oh, cool.
He's doing Back to the Future right now, and so it's pretty wild to hear that aspect of drumming, like the Broadway end of it.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I could. I don't even. He plays in. He's like in his own room, like in a basement somewhere.
Wow.
He's not even with anybody else.
Wow.
He has a room like we are right now.
Wow.
With TV screens and all his setup, and that's how he play. That's how he does the Broadway show.
So they don't even want to be seen.
They're not even seen. It's
wow.
He said that I can go one day and sit in his room and just check it out and see it. So I can't wait to do that.
Wow. That's wild. It's a whole different thing.
He played at the Bitter End. I'm sure know who doesn't know the Bitter End.
Sure.
And so he played there. I went to go. He does a lot of like freelance stuff and a lot of Broadway now. Not that much touring because the touring thing is just not like it used to be.
Yeah.
You know, even with the big artists.
Oh, is that right?
They just don't tour that much.
Yeah.
You know, they don't pay that much anymore.
Yeah.
You know, they just want the cheapest. There's so many people out there that'll do tours cheap that you know.
Sure.
They don't really care about the he needs to make a living.
Sure. Yeah, and they're not burning the major labels' money up.
Yeah, it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Unless you're like Taylor Swift, that's making like $54 million a show or whatever.
Right. Imagine $54 million a show. That's amazing.
I think
is that for real?
No, I think her last her tour before this one, which is not even as big. I think she grossed like $54 million on her tour.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, good for her.
God bless us all.
I mean, she does have talent.
You know what? I'm not even aware that I've heard one song.
You probably have. You just don't even know.
Yeah. It just seems nice enough. Yeah, that's I guess that's what happens. I guess, right?
Yeah. But then the drumming that, you know, turned, you know, all this original bands kind of shifted gears.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of those clubs we played in New York are all closed now.
Yeah, sure.
You know?
Sure.
And then, you know, we started doing cover stuff, and which I'm not you know, people like kind of diss like people playing cover bands and stuff, but I think it was a learning thing,
definitely.
if anything. Like I played in Stairway to Halen, which was all Zeppelin and Van Halen. That stuff is not easy.
No.
You know, I had to study like Alex Van Halen and, you know, Bonham. It's like, and that's the best for what a better situation you want to be in as a drummer.
Right. Yeah.
If you're going to be in a cover band, that's the ones you want to play.
That's it. Yeah.
And then you start, like you said, you start studying and you're like, wow, I played that wrong for a long time.
Yeah.
And you want to duplicate it as best. You're obviously not going to get it like, you know, perfect. But we even talked about the Alex thing one time. Like, he's so underrated.
Oh, yeah.
Now with those isolated track things, I sent like, you listen to that, they're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
You know, because everyone was like Eddie.
Right.
You know, which is, of course,
sure.
Right. But like, he kind of got like, but now it's like he was definitely, that stuff is hard.
Oh yeah. Oh I loved Van Halen growing up. They were like one of my favorite bands ever. So yeah. Alex was always one of my dudes. I don't know if enough people heard it because the album was kind of wacky, but I don't know when it was, but the David Lee Roth reunion album with Wolfie.
Oh yeah.
That's Alex's best drumming, hands down.
That's actually a great album.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I'm just saying, I'm not going to recommend it to people like, oh man, it's the greatest thing ever. I dug it, but especially Alex's playing. That's his best playing on that record, which is kind of wild because you're thinking, he gets better as he gets older, so he's for real. You know what I mean? Like he's not coasting.
I was lucky enough. I got to see like the Fair Warning tour.
Oh wow,
1984.
Yeah, I never saw him.
I got to see Rush, another who if you're a drummer, you grew up on Neil Peart, and I got to see Moving Pictures tour.
Wow.
When I was 13.
Oh, that must have been mine.
I have the ticket stub somewhere. It was $9.
Wow, imagine that.
And I bought a T-shirt for I think $10. I wish I still had that T-shirt.
Can you imagine? Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, no, it was definitely fun times, no doubt.
Now we just play cover bands and we have fun and we make a little money and.
Well, we're old now too.
And I've noticed too. We were just talking about this with my band. Like, there's no all our bands. We're all older.
Right.
Like the bar bands.
Right.
There's no like younger kids like taking our spot. It's weird. Like there's not young kid bands that are like in their 20s like starting to play the clubs.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre to me. Like there's kids that play together, but there's no one like kind of taking our place.
Yeah.
We kind of get older.
Yeah.
And there's just more like older people playing. I get the bar scene. It's weird. It changed.
Yeah, yeah.
I know
what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like there's not.
I don't know what they're doing. They're doing something somewhere, just not where we know about it.
Are they playing their friends' houses or
I don't know.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm waiting for some like 20-something band to start playing Anthony D's.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. I don't know. I think about that too. Yeah, if it's, I mean, I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent, but, you know,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we will. We'll see what happens. So, Eclectic Nobodies. When did that happen? How did that happen?
That was 90s, I think. Yeah, that was 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And we recorded it with Joe's, the album, and then. We hooked up with this person and that person.
Sure.
We were like doing showcases in New York.
Yep.
Don Hills and
yep.
playing for label people and whatnot. Sure. And whether we missed the curve or, because it started becoming later 90s.
Yep.
And it was funny because I remember playing Coney Island High for like Atlantic Records.
Sure.
And the guy's like, yeah, man, the band's really good. But, we're kind of like, we're looking for, we're signing this like young girl singer. And, she's like 14 or 15. It was like Christina Aguilera.
Oh boy. Yeah. Right.
So they're putting like all their money into this like young chick singer, which probably worked out for them.
Yeah. I would think so. Yeah. Yeah.
And at that time, Fuel and all those bands, they were all like kind of happening. Yep. Then it kind of started to fizzle away,
Mm-hmm.
And then we were getting older.
Yeah.
And it's weird because back then they wanted bands to be younger.
Okay.
At that time.
Yeah.
And we were getting older.
Yeah.
And then now it's different now because they don't really care about age anymore. Like it's not like an age thing.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, I guess, in a way.
But then I see like my friend, this band, the 2 a.m. Club. You might like them. They're like a singer, a rapper kind of thing. They, my friend played drums and they played New York and they had major label deal, millions of dollars behind them, touring, MTV's Band of the Week.
Yeah.
And they never broke.
Wow.
It's like. So you think like they always say, oh, you need this, you need that. I'm like, this band had everything, hits, like they packed bars in New York, like got their thing together, had tons of promo by the label, major label. They were touring with everybody.
Who knows why?
You just don't know why. Like so I think it's just like, and then you'll hear this song on the radio and you're like, oh my God, how is that? But it's like number one.
Yeah, right.
How is that? Where it says, I think it's still. Right timing. I don't know if it's timing or who knows.
Yeah, we'll never know.
It's a lot different now too, though. But you don't showcase anymore.
Right.
I think they just want to see you like how many followers do you have?
Right. Yeah.
On YouTube or
already. And we
still have fun though. We like it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the most important.
Still
thing.
playing. Never stop playing. I like collecting the old vintage stuff and. Restore. I restored an old Ludwig kit. This guy, my friend, the mom bought it for the son who like passed away.
Yeah.
And it like sat in the basement, for I don't know how many years, and it sat in my friend's, the brother's basement for how many years, and he gave it to me in a box.
Yeah.
You know, it had like some water damage one of the toms, and then I literally, you know, you took it. It was never, the heads were never taken off it.
Whoa.
So you take, you know, that smell you get from
that
vintage wood, and I restored the thing, and you know, I try to keep as much period correct stuff as you can, you know.
Yep.
And it was a really black marine, like charcoal marine color wrap, and it was all born together. The whole kit.
Wow.
Bought in a music store. You know, the date stamps were like all close together, so it wasn't. And it was the original one the mom bought the kid.
Wow.
And the brother played guitar and ended up fixing it, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was like it came out of the factory, and I gave it to the guy, and he was just like blown away. It was like, just to do that is kind of cool, like for the family.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, and
For
you know,
sure.
and then making friends with all these drum restorers. You know.
Oh, really?
You know,
That's
so I have like these,
network.
like if you need a part, like you'd be amazed. Like Ludwig used to make all these parts for the drums, and they just stopped making them.
Oh, wow.
Like if you're familiar with the super sensitive from the 70s, they have these like little wire guards. They always they're always bent.
Sure.
They fall off. You could buy them. They're like $12.
Yeah.
They stopped making them. It's like the holy grail now.
Oh.
If you had like a set of those now, it's ridiculous.
Really?
I had a one drum that I was trying to find, and through one of the friends, you know, he's like, I found a guy that had like original NOS in the bag, and it's like, I'll sell them to you for cost. And so it's like, it's good to make friends with all these people and, and networking and, you know, waiting for, you know, the drive, you know, when they have the bulk pickup, you drive around like, hope to find like grandfather's drum kit that was in the basement that someone thinks it's garbage.
Right.
It happens all the time.
Have you ever seen, I have an old 28-inch, it's got to be a WFL. I don't even know what it is. Neighbor was like, this is out on my neighbors have something out on the curb. You should go get it. And I have it in my basement. It's old, and it's got, you know, the external muffler, old school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's I have no idea how old it is. You might know, but everything's original on it. I just keep it in my basement.
You ever play it?
Yeah. It's super. It's like, oh man. And you know what that's like. You don't even hear it until you're across the room. Like you're sitting behind it and you play it and you go, sounds great. And then someone will be across the room going, oh my God, that low end is ridiculous. Because that was the old days where you're like, there's no microphone. Like I thought about that one day. I kind of got it twisted. I got it backwards. It's like, it's big bass drum, you know, like whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but it needed to be this big because there was no microphones. And like, you know, you're playing in a big band or something, or a Dixieland band. It's got to be a big drum.
We always made fun of Joe because Joe, even actually Joe now.
Yeah.
I think he plays. I just made heads for him. They were 28s, 228s.
Yeah. Crazy.
And he had that like 32.
Yeah. They're ridiculous.
That C-Bone used to play.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep.
They would go to Toes and be like, "What the hell?"
Yeah. That's his thing. Yeah,
but
it's so funny.
But it worked.
Yeah. Well, I used to live on near Joetown. Anyway, up the street from Joetown. I don't know where this drum is. I wish I did, but I was taking a late night walk one night, and in front of the Historic Society of Wallingford, because that's a historic district, they had an old bass drum out on the curb in the middle of the night with like a hand-painted nature scene on the front. And this is like 2 a.m. I'm taking a walk, and I lived around the block. I'm just like, I picked it up and walked all the way home with it and kept it around for years. I don't know where it is. I don't remember where, but yeah, you know, I was like, God only knows what that thing was. But
you see those all the time with the hand painted things. I see them all in my Ludwig groups. You know, the feeds, the vintage things. During the pandemic, I mean, people were getting rid of stuff cheap.
Right.
So I was able to find some really cool stuff like that. I just bought because this is cool. It's an old drum, and then you find out later like. The Ludwig, it's like a liar badge, they call it. They only made it for 1 year, 1930s.
Oh, boy. You're like...
And I got it like dirt cheap because someone was just like getting rid of it. Yep. I found it when I was cleaning my bass. I didn't even know I had it because I forgot. Mm-hmm. Then I'm like, what is this badge? I never seen this. And you just, you know, do a little research and like, they only made it for 1 year. So now I'm like, I want to restore this. And
yeah.
You know,
why not?
I got a drum kit from this kid, and came with this like dirty snare drum in one of those hard cases with the leather strap.
Yeah.
I pulled it out. It was like heavy too. It was a Ludwig. And I'm like, wow, this thing's heavy. And I cleaned it up, and it literally looks like it came out of the showroom.
Oh, wow.
It was so pre-serial was like 1960.
Oh, wow.
So it's a 1960 chrome over brass, super sensitive.
Hey.
All original. Like there's not a pit.
And you have the thing?
I have everything.
Wow.
And the original case that it came in, and you can't even find them. Like if you find them beat up or shot, this thing, if you saw the chrome on it, it looks like I bought it today. I record with it a lot because it records amazing. Wow. It's only a 5 by 14, but it records amazing.
Yeah.
I use it I recorded some stuff with Joe a couple of years ago, and we used it.
Like I say, keep it in good shape. I always think of stuff like that. I go, someday when I need dialysis, I'm going to sell all this, or whatever. Someday when we get old, you never know.
That'll be my son's his retirement or something. Who knows?
Yep. That's killer. So there you were
trying to get a deal. Didn't happen.
Yep. Well,
but I never stopped playing. Like a lot of my friends during, the late 80s, 90s, they like stopped.
Yeah.
Because they got frustrated or something. No one could get a deal or whatever.
Yeah.
Screw this. Nirvana came out.
Yep.
Fuck Nirvana.
Yep.
They want to kill yourself music.
Sure. Yeah.
Whatever that was. But, it was Dave Grohl too. I mean.
Right.
Where's Dave Grohl now? He's in some little band.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Foo something.
Yeah.
So he made a good name for himself.
Yeah, right. Well,
And then I think he had a bigger influence on Nirvana than people think. I think.
Oh, definitely.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't think it was all Kurt.
No.
A lot of it was obviously, but like you listen to the early Foo Fighters and stuff, you're like, yeah, I bet you Dave had a little say in some of this stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, whatever. I'm a Dave Grohl fan too, so I mean, we could talk about that forever. But when you realize now that because some kids over the years, you have to teach them how to play Teen Spirit or whatever, and it's always arrangement wise. Like you listen to the parts, and they're always like progressing. Like the second part of this buildup has one more bass drum part, and the whole thing is just like put together so well that maybe we wouldn't notice if he didn't become Foo Fighters, but you just go, this dude is thinking all the time. Like the arrangements are just completely rock solid and make sense, and they're symmetrical and are musical, and there's a point to it, and you're like, oh yeah, it's because he's the man. And then when he starts making his own music, you're like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, the first Foo Fighter record, I think he played all the instruments in his basement.
Right. Yeah. No,
and you're like, okay, he recorded that in his basement, probably like in a week.
Yeah.
Do you need a big, humongous studio to make a hit record? No, you don't.
No.
It's all about writing.
Right. Yeah. Well, no one's that good, except for him. But yeah, no, you're right. With Nirvana, yeah, you do wonder. I mean, as great as but now we realize that it's all of them. It's the whole thing, because they had a drummer before him, and it didn't quite happen like that. And isn't it funny now you hear him say, now that it's all, in the past or whatever, he's like, oh, I was just playing like it was a big funk band. You know what I mean? Like he's just playing heavy groove. Like that's his concept. You're like, wow, that's why it works, because there's just no nonsense. It's all just like right in the pocket and grooving.
If anyone wants any good, if you want to read a good book, is Dave's Storyteller's book.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't even realize that he when he was like, I don't know, like 16, he toured in that punk band.
Yeah.
When he was like super young.
Yeah.
Like his mom's just like, cool, just go.
Yeah.
Tour Europe with, what was the name of that band? That
Scream.
Punk. Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't realize that he toured like as a young drummer, 16, 17.
Crazy.
In a van with a bunch of dudes touring Europe.
Crazy. Yeah. No, I mean, obviously it's stupid to even say, oh, Dave Grohl's a real deal. He is obviously
I mean, listen to the stuff he did, like, Queens of the Stone Age.
Uh-huh.
I mean, those drums are insane.
Yeah. Anything.
People forget, like, what an amazing musician he is.
Oh,
like,
yeah. No, I don't forget.
And his film, like, he does all that, like, all the Sonic Highways. He did all the editing and like the video and like.
So talented. Yeah, super talented. Yeah, we don't need to big up Dave Grohl. He doesn't need us.
No.
But yeah, no, for sure.
So after Nirvana killed everything.
Right. there you were.
Then we were just like, what are we gonna do now? We're like,
You still play with anybody from there, from the Nobodies?
No, I'm still in contact with those guys. Mm-hmm. We all live here except for Brian. Brian lives in Florida now, so we're trying to get him to maybe come up here and do like a little like reunion show or something, which I would love to. I actually just dug up my new used car that actually has a CD player. Which is rare.
Yeah.
Because they don't even have CD.
Right.
So I grabbed one of the old eclectic CDs. I haven't heard it in so long. I was like,
you're like, man, this is the best shaker track I've ever heard in my life.
Listen to that tambourine. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, this stuff kind of like it still holds up. Like
I bet.
And just the production.
Yeah.
I'm like, I would love to get together with the guys and do it. I have no like, I'm not gonna do like some of these guys. Right. No, I hate everybody. Right. Whatever, man. It's just like a long time ago, and we'll get something together eventually. Do a show with Joe.
Yeah, right.
Joe's still playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all still playing, and I never stopped playing drums. Like all my friends stopped guitar, and drummers stopped drumming, and I just kept going.
That's cool. Nothing wrong with that.
No. Then I started just doing cover stuff and having just making extra cash. And
why not?
Then I ended up having surgery on my arm. I had Tommy John surgery.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's like the pitching surgery. A lot of the pitchers get it.
Oh wow!
So my left hand, my snare hand, from just hitting.
Oh wow!
It's like a repetitive. I had Tommy John surgery.
Okay.
My left arm still isn't like 100%. It's probably from just being a hard player my whole life. It's like any athletic injury.
Right. And as we get older,
repetitive smashing on the snare drum.
Sure. Yeah.
And then when you do a little more research, you realize that even the pro drummers, have a lot of health issues with their arms and
well, it's going to happen. Especially as we get older.
Maybe you're getting older.
Oh, I am getting older. I'm getting older right now. No, you're right, because especially if you think about some of those cats, when they have a career, it's like you can't rest. You hurt yourself, and then you do 50 shows, and then you wreck your arm forever, and then there you are.
There's been times with Tommy Lee, like he couldn't, when he was doing that tour in Bridgeport, and he couldn't play because his arms were all like fucked up.
Right.
Yeah.
It happens.
Even Neil Peart, I think he just from his
by the end
he was shot.
Yeah, well, I read Getty's book, and that was kind of his thing. Was just like, I can't. It's just not. It's not worth it. There's got to be an end at some point. Yeah, it's crazy. We're getting close. So, is there anything that you want to talk about that we did not talk about that's part of your story that you could think of?
I'm trying to think. We got the custom drum thing, and all the graphic stuff, and I ended up just kind of, I've been doing graphics for 30 years probably since like 1987.
Yeah, right.
So, I got into making all this stuff for the bands and everything. So that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm just kind of having fun.
Yeah.
Making a little extra cash.
And how about the graphics thing? Was like a career choice? That was like what you were going to do as a grown up?
I went to Southern, for a year, and then I got a job, and then I just started doing that. I went to the sign making thing, and then, doing all the CDs for everybody back in the day.
Yeah. You were the guy.
So I just kept doing it. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
So yeah, I like doing that. It's fun. I like, designing drum heads and
yeah. Well, you did all mats, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's killer. Yeah, you did one for me. You remember? It's like that. It's the Beatles logo.
The Beatles ripoff.
Oh yeah.
I'll probably get sued or something.
No. I had this vision. I was like, because I had the Ludwig. I got I have a Ludwig Ringo kit, and I was like, one day I was like, wait a minute, my name, John Peckman, has the same amount of letters as the Beatles. And I was like, hey, Arnie, can you make a... And he's like, yep. It's so funny.
Who are your big influences as a drummer?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, Ringo's my number one. Just because it was the first drumming I ever heard when I was a kid. My parents were into it. So I still think in terms of Ringo. I just do. But I always say my top three are Ringo, Bunny Carlos from Cheap Trick, and Tom Ardolino from NRBQ. Those are like my three. That's my top three, and then from there it goes, whatever. Bonham, Dave Grohl, Levon.
And I noticed that you play like
Open
what do they
lefty.
call open lefty?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you a lefty drummer?
Well, I'm a left-handed person. I write with my left hand. I didn't know any better. I was a kid. I would just hop on right-handed people's drum kit and just do what came naturally. And no one ever told me, like, if you're truly left-handed, and I've had a few students over the years, and Phil Collins does it, you would set up completely
opposite.
Yeah. And use your left foot and your left hand. Left foot played a bass drum, but I never...
So you use your right foot, but you play open.
Left-handed, right-footed, yeah, which is weird. It's weird.
It is kind of weird, but it works.
Well, it works. You'd be surprised. There's some things that most normal people do that I have difficulties with, but I created my own workarounds. You know, like I don't know how much you get into it, but like, you know, Ringo is the same way, but he plays actually open righty. I mean, he plays righty, but he starts his fills with his left hand because he's left-handed. I do the opposite. I lead with my left, but I start my fills with my right. It's weird. It's hard to explain, but I have all these weird workarounds.
My one of my old bands I play with, the drummer's lefty now, so when I go see him, they're like they want me to sit in, and I'm just like
I can't. Yeah, I gotta switch everything.
So like my left foot isn't that strong.
Right.
Like I could probably do AC/DC.
Right. But you're not going to play the Immigrants.
No.
Or whatever. Yeah. No. I hear you.
So what I would do is I would play open, but I would use like his double pedal.
Right.
And I would play with my right foot with his double pedal.
Yeah.
You know, it's like.
Yeah.
And now, but you know, studying Bonham and stuff like that, you realize that he led with his left hand.
Oh.
With a lot of stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never really.
Which is cool about YouTube because you know Brian Tichy. I don't know if you know who Brian Tichy is.
Sure.
He does a whole Zeppelin thing.
Gotcha.
And he teaches the Zeppelin fills, the triplets.
All right.
And he teaches all these things, and you realize, and he's like, well, Bonham led with his left hand with this, and you're like, oh.
I got to get dialed up.
You got to check that out.
Yeah, I do.
He has a whole free class online where he just teaches you all the Bonham stuff.
Oh, cool. I'm going to need to because I got this thing coming.
Yeah, you got this thing coming. We're working on the kit.
Yeah, we are. So my problem is when I get on a righty's kit, the ride cymbal's on the wrong side. So if I can switch the cymbals real quick, like if I have to go to the ride cymbal, I just won't.
So where's your ride cymbal?
My ride's right is here.
Are you like
hi-hat?
Oh,
ride.
okay. So you got like everything right there.
Everything is here. Yeah. It's weird. But it works.
That's your thing, though.
It is my thing. You know, it causes me to come up with different things that other people wouldn't.
You ever see that guy? What's that guy who like sets his drums up like all like they're at his feet and they're all at weird angles? He's like a really like popular, famous drummer, but he sets up.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Like it's like
yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, I don't remember his name. I know what you mean.
There was a big thing online.
Completely bizarre. Yeah.
I don't know if everyone's like gimmick. Well, it worked for him.
Well, hey man, whatever. Yeah, you do whatever works.
You're gonna be the Bonham guy that plays open-handed.
Right. Well, I'm gonna have to be. Yeah. I was doing a Beatles tribute one time, and I tried to play the whole gig righty because I didn't want it to look like that, and it was hard. It's weird because I could do it, but then my wrists were killing me. I'm like, oh, that's funny. You know, you would think that
because you're using different muscles that you don't use.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't think it was that big a deal, but it was. So, yeah. Oh well. But I mean, so I'm getting ready to do kind of this Zeppelin Bad Company tribute thing, but it's not. We're gonna work on the kit.
It's not like Get the Lead Out.
No,
you're just not. It's kind of like the Stairway to Halen thing. It was like us doing songs we like by those two bands.
That's kind of what this is.
We're not like. Right. Replicating.
Right.
We didn't have a keyboard player. We didn't,
Right.
But we were just like having fun playing songs that we like by those two bands.
Right. That's kind of what we're doing. So I don't think anyone's going to care that I'm open lefty. However, the Ringo kit, like I said, I'll get away with it once, maybe twice, but we're going to get that.
We're going to get that for you.
Got to be the Green Sparkle.
Yeah.
Desert Island albums, a handful of albums, 5 albums that you would take with you to a desert island and only listen to those for the rest of your life.
It'd have to be Fair Warning, without a doubt.
Sure.
It would have to be Soundgarden, Super Unknown.
Sure. Yep. I used to listen to that every single day, that record.
This is going to be a weird one. I know you're Extreme Waiting for the Punchline.
I don't know that one. Yeah.
If anyone listen to that, get a chance, listen. It's probably the most sonically perfectly recorded record. Like if you listen to it with headphones, it's like bass, drums, guitar, vocals.
Really?
Like literally, it feels like you're sitting in the room with the drummer.
Oh, I love that.
You would like it.
When was it?
I think they just had their like 25th anniversary or something. It was like one of their earlier Extreme records.
So it was before.
Oh yeah, way before. But it was like it's so raw recorded.
Yeah. I like that. That's what it should be.
Like if you listen to Hell, you can like hear the snares. It's like you would love it.
Okay,
you would love it.
I'll get into it.
So that's 3. There'd have to be Rush Moving Pictures.
Sure.
What do I got? One more. I mean, it'd have to be like a Foo Fighters where Color and Shape.
Yeah.
The one with February Stars and such a Monkey. I think Monkey Wrench and all that.
Yep.
So many good albums though.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a couple new bands that I kind of discovered. This Dinosaur Pileup. You ever heard them?
No.
They're from England. Cool. It's kind of like punk, sorta. Mm-hmm. That's a cool thing you might want to check out. Dinosaur Pileup and Dirty Honey. What? They're kind of like a Black Crowes kind of rock, kind of bluesy rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of discovered them. Their key thing is that they did it all on their own.
Yeah.
No record label, and they were touring with whatever. But they were good live band,
Cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think those albums.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many.
Desert Island Food.
Fish and chips.
Oh,
I try. I try to go everywhere. Like I try to find like a fish and chips place, like an Irish place, and I try them out everywhere.
Yeah.
So far, I think Duffy's in West Haven is one of the top.
Yep.
Top 5 definitely.
Yeah, I used to work there. I used to run trivia.
Come on, really?
For years. Yeah.
I live like right next door.
Oh, really?
So like we walk there to eat.
No, it's a cool joint. Yeah.
And 7 Seas in Milford, they have a good fish and chips.
Mm-hmm. I live in Berlin, up on the Pike. Blue Lobster up on the Pike is pretty good.
Oh, I've driven by there.
Yeah, I think they do a good job, but I'm not. That's your thing, so I'm not gonna.
Mac and cheese.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, how wrong can you go?
You have to have like an old fashioned drink in there somewhere or something.
Oh boy,
and some whiskey,
Yeah. Yeah.
What other food? I don't even know.
Yeah, well, that's all right. It's just,
pizza.
It's a wacky. Yeah,
we're spoiled though. I mean.
Yeah, I know. Wait, this is the same conversation with everybody that comes here.
I go to Florida and I'm like, don't even try pizza here,
it's
please.
Stupid.
Please.
Yeah, there's no point.
My friend's like, oh, I know a good place. No, you don't.
No, you don't. Yeah, we don't realize how lucky we have it. Yeah, there was. I keep saying this the last few weeks. There was an article. I don't know. It was in a national magazine. It was like, Connecticut's putting pizza on the national map. I'm like, we are the map, bro. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah. Name one show that you saw that completely changed your life. One concert that blew your mind.
It was probably Moving Pictures.
Yeah, right.
Because I was a new drummer at the time. I think I've only playing a couple years. Mm-hmm. And then watching Neil throw that stick up.
Oh boy.
And then catch it, and you're like,
yeah, this is amazing.
I want to be a drummer.
Yeah, I hear you. I
mean, the Van Halen stuff was cool, but it was so loud back then.
Okay.
That my ears were ringing for like 3 days.
Oh, really? So you couldn't even really tell what was going on.
Everything was just like so loud. Then I think one of the Foo Fighters show at RFK Stadium when he broke his leg and he was doing that broken leg tour.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And there was 80,000 people like singing My Hero.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, this is like
that's heavy.
Incredible.
Yeah. That's pretty heavy.
And I did get to see like Jazz is Dead at Toad's.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
It's like I think I was handing out flyers for like a Toad show and I just go in there and I'm like, what is this? And then it's like you're looking like, oh, there's Dave LaRue, and there's like Steve Morse, or like, and there's Rod Morgenstein, and you're like, holy cow! This is like ridiculous to see like Dave LaRue and Rod Morgenstein like battle each other.
Yeah,
because a lot of people knew Rod Morgenstein from Winger,
right, and don't realize
like what
thing.
He is.
Yeah,
like
right. Yeah, no, we know drummers know. We knew Rod Morgenstein before Winger. Yeah, that'll do it. That would blow your mind. All right, we can get out of here.
Yeah,
I appreciate you coming finally.
Yeah,
we've been
finally.
trying to do this for a while, so it's cool.
And anyone needs a drum head, you know who to call.
Yes, no, believe me.
Instagram, I play drums hard. That's my Instagram account. So you can find me on like Facebook and all that fun stuff.
Yep, you can do anything.
Anything.
No, I
need
know.
A custom snare drum.
I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah, we're going to work on the kit. Yeah, that's killer.
We're working on the bottom kit.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. All right, I'm pressing the button.
Press it.
Arnie Cuozzo was here. He was here.
I was.
Yep. He still is. He still are. John Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Beautiful downtown Portland. Come over to the bridge. Go through 1 cent lights. Pull a UE. Park in front of the music store with the red neon light. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Be here or be square. Do people even say that anymore? Be here or be
You
square?
did.
No, whatever. Be here on the show with me. Have your own podcast here in our beautiful studio. We have merch. Go check out our merch on our website.
Merch?
Oh, dude. You'll see. You're leaving here with something. You don't even know that. All right, Arnie Cuozzo, thank you very much.
Yes, well, hold on. I got one last thing for you.
Oh, okay. That is all.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.